coming out right now. St. Aubert 717, Chamois 722, Toledo 724, Portland 725, Yucatan 727, 730 in Buffton, Danville at 738, Montgomery City at 742, as this storm is going to be coming in right now. The tornado warning is going to include Callaway and Montgomery County, so it should pop up here just momentarily. This is going to be moving off to the east, and as this happens, we're going to see this storm continue to push to the east. This tornado warning is going to go until 8 p.m. It's going to include southeastern Callaway County in central Missouri, Montgomery County until 8 p.m. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 8 miles south of Fulton and moving to the northeast at 60 miles per hour. This tornado near New Bloomfield at 7:15, Fulton at 7:20. Other locations in the tornado warning include Mocaine, Stedman, Reform, Danville, and Midtown that we are watching very closely here. So we are monitoring this right now, and we are watching it as it comes in. I'm not sure why this hasn't popped into our graphic system yet. Here, but we are tracking these storms very closely. Here we go. Let's go to Patrick Harrion over at the Right Now desk. Patrick,
yeah,
we are pick up.
Yeah, we are tracking that storm. It is south of Fulton, moving a little bit northeastward, as Matt said earlier. And that warning is out there for Fulton, for Reedsville, for Mocaine, driving northeasterly there. So if you're in the path of the storm, definitely go to your safe space if you can. Definitely pack those shoes, pack those, anything you need for this storm. Go into your safe space if you can. It's the most interior room. If you have a basement, that's great. Go down there if you can. But if you do not have a basement, go into your interior room. Bring as many walls as you can between you and the storm outside.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. We are working on getting this up here, but what I can tell you is that this tornado warning is going to include Fulton on the edge of Kingdom City, Avaz, Reedsville, Portland, Mocaine, and what we're watching here is that it's going to move to the northeast. We are not getting this into our graphics system yet. I'm not sure if it's a problem with our graphics vendor or the National Weather Service, but we can still track this storm because we're still getting live radar data here. This is going to be on the south end of Fulton. I want you to go ahead and get to your shelters now. Everyone in the path of this storm, I want you in your shelters now. So this is near Pitcher, near Browns Ford, headed towards Reedsville. Go ahead and get to those safe locations. We're going to track the core of this rotation, and we are going to move it to the northeast at about 60 miles per hour. So this is going to be near Toledo at 726, Yucatan 729, Williamsburg 734, Mineola at 739, Danville at 741, and 745 in Montgomery City. Again, we are watching this very closely here in the KOMU 8 First Alert Weather Center as these thunderstorms are racing to the northeast. Again, this tornado warning is going to include Fulton, Reedsville, Mocaine, New Florence, Montgomery City, Wellsville, Middletown, Bellflower, Kingdom City. All of these locations are included, and we are monitoring it very closely. We are watching these storms that are moving off to the northeast. And again, this is a tightening area of rotation that we are monitoring very closely here. So as we continue to monitor the situation into the First Alert Weather Center, I want you to go ahead and take shelter right now. This is being reported by other television stations that are having this problem. So this is not just us. This is a problem with either our vendor or with the National Weather Service being able to distribute warnings. So this is something that we're continuing to monitor here, but we appear to be getting radar data, which is honestly the most important part with this storm that we're monitoring very closely. That we're watching. So as we continue to move these storms through central Missouri, let's go to Patrick.
Yeah, definitely. If you're in those areas, Reedsville, if you're east of Fulton, definitely go into your safe space. We said earlier, get as many walls between you as you can at this moment here. Definitely take time, go into your safe space if you can. And again, if you have a basement, that's great too. Go down to the basement. You want to have as many walls between you and the outside. Matt?
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. And meteorologist Beth Finello has actually been working in our newsroom to try and help our crews here. Beth, if I could actually get you to come to the studio and call our tech support with our graphics vendor, I don't know if it's a problem with the vendor or with the Weather Service. The Weather Service is investigating on their end, but I'd like us to light up that phone call, please. As we watch this storm continuing to move off to the northeast, again, we are at least getting radar data, so that is good news for us. That we're monitoring very closely. And as we watch this, it is capable of rotation, and I am going to continue to follow this storm very, very closely here. So I'm going to pull up actually a secondary source so that I can continue to kind of see the data from both ends here. Again, this tornado warning is for Fulton right now and continuing to stretch to the east. Here is where we have that latest rotation here. This to the southeast of Fulton near State Road D. This is going to be moving to the northeast. So Reform and Yucatan, that is where we are watching for this rotating storm right here where this little notch is. That would be our greatest concern. Potentially some hail here on the south side of Fulton, but this is going to continue to lift off to the northeast as well. And that is going to be something that we're watching here, that we're watching very closely. Something that I can do is I can draw basically where the tornado warning is, and so that you guys can see it. But essentially what we're looking at here, and I'm going to use black lines to show this, this is to the northeast of New Bloomfield and is going to be for this area, stretching all the way to the Montgomery County border. So this is where we have that tornado warning. I'm going to flip this a little bit more to my side here. This is the area, and the storm is moving to the northeast. When it comes to what we're watching here, we have to get a little creative with some of our things, and that's exactly what we're doing. So from Fulton heading towards Montgomery City, that is where we are watching this tornado warning. What should we do in a tornado warning? Meteorologist Noah Simmons is here with me now. Noah, let's go through some of the places that people can be sheltering.
Yes, absolutely, Matt. So basically, we're going to be looking at your innermost room in either your house, or even some people are living in apartments. They don't have necessarily a basement where typically you would want to take shelter. So typically you want to go to an interior room, whether that's a closet or a bathroom. And usually we like to tell people, if you can punch every single wall in that interior room, you need to be entering into another room. Say your fist would need to enter into another room if you were to punch every single wall. So you want to do the most inner room, whether that's a closet or a bathroom, and then also the basement. That's going to be your best bet for any of those tornado warnings that we're still dealing with here out by Fulton, even parts of New Florence and parts of Montgomery County. So definitely take those precautions there. Good news is that if you're west of Columbia or west of Jefferson City, your threat is now ended. You just have to deal with those breezy, gusty winds. But still, for our eastern and southern counties, we still have to be on the lookout for those severe storms still.
Yeah, thanks, Noah. And what we are seeing kind of in the new radar scans is this doesn't look as much of a notch as it was, which is a sign that some of the rotation may be weakening a little bit. And of course, we're all seeing very gusty winds associated with this as well. So that's something we're monitoring. And let me zoom in closer here. And the notch is essentially gone. That is certainly excellent that we want to be seeing. It's still, of course, having the potential to rotate and is moving to the northeast. Let me give you the latest storm track on where this is headed, and we are going to push this to the northeast. Reform 727. Let's go ahead and get to our safe place. Even though this rotation is weakening a little bit, I do want you to go ahead and move there. It is better safe than sorry. Yucatan at 728, Williamsburg at 732, Starkenburg at 739, Danville at 740, Montgomery City 742, Jonesburg at 751, Warrington at 8 o'clock, and 8:05 in Cave. That's at the point where this starts to get outside of our viewing areas. It appears that on tech support, there's some kind of delay happening in the graphics system that is causing this to happen. So that is not ideal, not something that we necessarily want to be seeing, but it is going to pop up eventually. The National Weather Service chiming in with an update on this storm. They are seeing it's starting to weaken too. Patrick Arian, what can you tell us?
Yeah, we just got the alert that that storm is starting to weaken. Now, they're going to keep the tornado warning on, so still take it seriously. Go down to your safe space if you can. But we're starting to see that storm starting to lose that notch, as what Matt said earlier. That's that hook echo is what we call it. Once you start losing that, you start seeing less rotation, which is all good news there, but that tornado warning is still going on. Definitely still head to your safe space spot if you can. Matt?
Yeah, Patrick, thank you so much for that update. It's always great that the National Weather Service, the folks that are responsible for issuing these warnings, are seeing the same things that we are. Since these warnings are taking a while to get into our system, I'm actually going to remove them from the radar view here. Not sweeping radar. We're going to remove the watches and warnings because at this point they're outdated. So what we're going to continue to monitor is this line that has shown some signs of weakening, and it looks like they are going to continue the warning at this point. The rotation seems to have weakened. They are going to keep it going because of the environment that we're in at this point, but certainly the news we want to be seeing. And here is that tornado warning finally showing up into our weather graphics system again. Some kind of delay between our graphics vendor that meteorologists all across the country are chiming in about. We're in a chat room together with the National Weather Service because they are our critical partners when it comes to keeping you safe. And they are seeing the same issues that we are. Let's go to Patrick or Noah.
Yeah, we're still seeing that weakening of that area that we did have that rotation earlier. That's all good news there, but still, that tornado warning is going to continue for areas in Reidsville, New Florence, Montgomery City, Wellsville, and Middletown. As long as you're in that polygon, still head to your safe space if you can. As we said many times already, as many walls as you can. If you do not have a basement, go to that interior room if you're able to, and make sure you have as many walls as possible. Stand down to the basement if you're able to, but still, good news, though, we are seeing a weakening rotation. But again, that tornado warning still going to continue, especially for areas east of Reidsville, Montgomery City, and Wellsville, west towards Fulton. That has definitely passed over there, and New Bloomfield as well. You're now on the back end of that system. All good news on that front there. Matt?
Yeah, Patrick, that is certainly good news. The thing about live TV is sometimes the microphone runs out of battery, so that's what was happening to my mic pack. I have fixed that. We're back here to continue our coverage. As we continue to look at this, we're not really seeing a couplet anymore. What you want to see is those red and those greens really, really close to each other. And while we do have that, they're not organized like they were just a short time ago. What we're watching here is, and you can see it, we have this couplet. It's now lifting to the northeast, and it continues to move that way. And guys, since my microphone was already down, let's go ahead and make sure both of you are good to go as well with your batteries. You can change them in the back. as we continue to watch this storm moving to the northeast, we're getting some new updates from the National Weather Service that I can pass along to us, and that is that they are continuing to push these storms off to the northeast. They have continued the tornado warning that is going to continue here for at least a little bit longer, just because of the environment that is most favorable right now between Wellsville and Montgomery City. And for those of you just joining us that would like an update elsewhere, I want to show you just kind of the bigger picture here that we're looking at. Along and east of Highway 63, that is pretty much where the severe potential is at this point. And really even more so, the severe potential continues even more so to the south. This is where the storms are at their peak, their strongest, and that are moving off to the northeast. So that is what we are watching very closely. Let's zoom back in and focus on our tornado warning. That is our #1 priority right now. And we can see that there are some pretty heavy downpours associated with this. Here's Fulton, here's Colwood, here's Vaz, here's Shamrock. And what we're seeing here east of Colwood, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here to the west of Yucatan. That is some pretty heavy rainfall with this, and probably some quarter-size hail associated with this as well that we're continuing to monitor too. So that is certainly something that we're watching very closely. Let's switch back over to the velocity image. And again, what we're seeing here is that these are not as tight as they were. There's still certainly rotation here, and that's why the National Weather Service is continuing that warning. I'm going to go ahead and draw a storm track along the leading edge of this rotation and just push it off to the northeast so that we can get the latest track here. Williamsburg at 7:33, Martinsburg 7:37, Danville 7:42, Montgomery City 7:44, Bellflower at 7:52, and Stillhouse Ford at 7:58. Again, this has shown some signs of weakening rotation, but it is still a rotating storm at this point that we continue to monitor. Something else that we continue to monitor just across the region as a whole, strong winds. These strong wind gusts have been anywhere from 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, and that is going to be a problem not just now, but that's going to continue to be an issue through the evening and overnight hours as we continue to watch these storms moving off to the north and to the east. Now, something we were talking about earlier is the overall environment that we're in for these thunderstorms. And meteorologist Noah Simmons is here with us. Noah, we've been analyzing the data here over the last several hours. Help explain to folks what's changed over the last couple of hours.
Yeah, exactly, Matt. Yeah, so we've had a little bit of a change in terms of our thermodynamic environment, especially across eastern and southeastern Missouri. I know earlier this afternoon we were talking about dew points kind of struggling a little bit, only in the 40s, and typically we want to see maybe a little bit higher dew points, closer to the 50s, and we're starting to see that, especially in our far southeastern counties like Marys, Osage, even our far eastern county of Gasconade County where Herman is. So we're starting to see some of that moisture starting to pull a little bit north, and we're also seeing a bit of more instability in the form of some CAPE. So that's on the increase a little bit to our southeast. So heads up, especially our southeastern counties as this line continues to move, as we still have that rotation still available over the next couple of hours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Noah. And you've been looking at the radar here. Here are those dew points, that moisture value he was talking about. We threw out some big terms, so I want to explain those. CAPE is simply just the energy in the environment that we have. And the moisture that we're looking at, these numbers were around 30 2 to 3 hours ago. That has been remarkable change. This is enough moisture now to where you get those rotations to happen, and that's why we've seen this. And I did see on the radar that it just popped up. It looks like there is a new tornado warning. This does not include our viewing area, but it does include areas pretty darn close and a place where some of you might have relatives or family. That tornado warning does include the Rolla area. Let me get the watch box up here, and that tornado warning is going to go for 8:15. It also is capable of 2.5-inch hail, so that is just about the size of baseballs. I think it's a little bit smaller than baseball-sized hail. And that is certainly an impressive storm. Again, these storms that are strongest are going to be paralleling I-44 and be moving to the northeast. So these storms are going to be the bigger problem headed towards the St. Louis metro. Our focus, of course, is on the tornado warning that continues for parts of Callaway and Montgomery County. A lot of lightning available with this storm as well. We're going to turn that off. Things have just gotten loud, gotten bumpy here within the last few minutes. Heavy rain and some hail associated with this too. Let me see what size that hail is. The National Weather Service warning of up to quarter-size hail there, so not necessarily all that large, but certainly can be enough to cause some problems. Let me switch things back over to the radar and give you an update on the rotation, because it looks like I may be starting to see the edge of a hook here again. I'm not sure if that's just a radar artifact. We'll wait for the next scan to come in here, but storms can sometimes go through a phase called cycling. They are going to be strengthening and weakening and then strengthening again, and that is pretty common when it comes to severe weather. So that is something we can see. Again, there is some rotation in that area, so I would not be surprised if this storm is trying to cycle a little bit. Let me zoom in and get you some closer cities, because I want you in your safe location. Williamsburg, please, if you are not in your storm shelter, now is the time to get there with this thunderstorm that is moving through. It is going to be continuing to move to the northeast towards Montgomery City and Wellsville. Here is the latest storm track on this. Again, moving to the northeast at about 60 miles per hour. And the timeline of that is for it to be near Danville at 7:44, Montgomery City 7:46. That's about 5 to 10 minutes away. So this storm is moving pretty quickly for us, getting near New Florence at 7:50, Bellflower at 7:54, Truxton at 8:01, and Edgewood at 8:03. Again, moving to the northeast here, a tornado warning. This tornado warning is set to go until 8 p.m. So we are anticipating, as long as this warning continues, staying with it for the next 20 minutes or so as we continue to monitor these storms. We continue to get in some storm reports as well from different parts of the region. Let's go to meteorologist Noah Simmons, who is monitoring some of these in chat. Noah, what are the storm reports that you've seen that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so we've been seeing a few of these storm reports. We've seen a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust west of Hannibal, so that's just northeast of here. And then along with that line of storms that we're tracking, especially with the tornado warning, just because the rotations may be weakened a little bit, you're still dealing with those strong up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We've seen 60-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts just east of Columbia. So we're starting to see those strong winds out there, and we really have to, take that in consideration. Also, it's a good idea to maybe stay away from windows as well, especially, if you don't have any, if you're not in a tornado warning, you might still be in the living room or whatnot. In case a tree or something, branch falls in, you definitely want to be away from windows just to protect yourself from any falling glass. But it's definitely the wind. That's really the strongest thing that's been with this system. But we're still watching that tornado warning storm and also the other cells as well as they quickly move their way eastward.
Yeah, thanks, Noah. And we are watching this storm pretty closely here. Again, a tornado-warned storm as we continue to track it now into extreme northeast Callaway County is what we're looking at. So just south of Martinsburg is where we have this storm, where it has been rotating. And what I want to show you next is the velocity image. That is the wind within the storm. First, starting with storm relative velocity. This is going to do a really good job of helping us identify rotation. And the most concerning area would be just west of Wellsville, as well as just west here of Danville and Montgomery City. So Montgomery City, Danville, Wellsville, I still want you in your safe locations at this point. Continue to take shelter, move to those locations. Also, for anyone that may be in Phelps or Pulaski County, we are seeing tornado warnings there as well as the potential of some very large hail. That is outside of our viewing area, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on those, but that is where we are seeing this. Again, we were talking even earlier today, and something I said is between Highway 54 and Highway 19 is where I thought these storms would start to spin. That is exactly what we have seen happen. I also would like to show you just the general velocity of these storms, and you can see just how strong the winds are associated with this. If you've been outside at all within the last few hours, that is not a shock to you that we've seen very strong winds across parts of the region and that those have been moving through central Missouri even well before the thunderstorm started. And even when these thunderstorms are long gone, we are going to continue to see very strong wind gusts as we go through the rest of the evening. We are also getting some updates on power outages across the region. I don't know if that's up in the booth, but we have currently just under 60,000 customers across the state of Missouri that are without power right now. Some of those power outages, particularly in Saline County, 800 customers without power. Sheraton, 230 customers without power. Marys County, 1,000 customers without power. Gasconade County, about 1,000 customers without power. Osage, about 500. Callaway County, about 600. Cole County, about 1,500 customers without power. And up towards Monroe County, about 300 customers without power. So again, we are looking at power outages associated with the wind that we've been seeing through the day, taking down some trees, taking down some power lines, and then again, some of the other things that we've been looking at associated with power outages is the thunderstorms that have been moving through central Missouri. Let's go ahead and zoom back in as this continues to cross the line from Callaway County into Montgomery County. What we're looking at here is a storm that thankfully has lost a lot of its organization. It's pretty strong, producing some wind gusts here, probably of about 60 miles per hour. I'm hearing that from some storm chasers that are meteorologists out in the field. Estimated wind speeds of about 60 miles per hour. That's from our friends down the road in St. Louis that are actually out this way chasing the storms. Then they're going to follow them back to St. Louis. Also, power surges have been something we've seen across parts of the region tonight as well. This thunderstorm, this rotation continues to move into Montgomery County and near Wellsville. Let's go ahead and look at the storm relative velocity, and it is not as impressive as it was. And let me show you what's happened here. We're going to back up the radar a little bit, and I want to show you just how much this has changed, because when the storm was in southern Callaway County, you had this well-defined hook. This is earlier. Now I'm going to play this forward, and you can see that we've lost a lot of that hook, and this is much more linear, which is good news. That means the rotation has weakened quite a bit across much of central Missouri. Looks like we are getting a new severe thunderstorm warning for Gasconade County and Osage County. Let's go ahead and look at that here. And that's going to be on the southern edge of this. So Gasconade County into Osage County, that's going to be this part of the storm. Again, the potential for some 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. I assume we are going to take a while for this to get into our graphic system. It looks like TV stations all across the country experiencing that. So what we're watching, again, multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. That severe thunderstorm warning for Osage and Gasconade County will go until 8:45, and it looks like the tornado warning that is for parts of Callaway and Montgomery County is going to continue until 8 p.m. That's about another 15 minutes or so. Weather team coverage continues right now. Meteorologist Patrick Harrion is here with me. Patrick, what do you got?
Yeah, we just got that new severe thunderstorm warning that did pop in over towards the south of Jefferson City, towards east, towards Lynn, Freeburg, Owensville. That's that severe thunderstorm warning. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts associated with it and quarter-size hail. But we are still in that tornado warning we've talked about earlier. It did have a hook early. It has started to weaken. We're still seeing a little bit of rotation, but nothing like we saw earlier about 10, 15 minutes ago or so. But still take this seriously. If you're in Wellsville, Middletown, Montgomery City, still want you to go to your safe space. That's the basement, interior room, as many walls as you can between you and the outside of your house, apartment. If you're in a mobile home, go to your storm shelter if you're able to. But we still are seeing some more of these severe thunderstorm warnings towards the southern part of mid-Missouri, driving southwest towards Rolla and outside of our viewing area. But if you have family in those areas, there is a tornado warning out there heading towards Rolla. Make sure they're getting to their safe space if you have family, friends, anyone you know out in that area. Matt?
All right, thank you for that, Patrick. What we are watching with that severe thunderstorm warning that's coming here for parts of Gasconade and Osage County, this is, as he mentioned, for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Some cities include Owensville, Herman, Lynn, Bland, Freeburg, Rosebud, Gasconade Bay, and Drake and Swiss as well. It looks like we have a MoDOT camera up near New Florence. That would be on the northern edge of this storm. We can see definitely some heavy rain, some water droplets covering the camera there. It looks like they're moving along at pretty decent speeds, though, which is certainly good news. Also, an update to pass along to you on that northern storm. And that storm, that's the reason we're on the air, is that tornado warning for Montgomery County. It looks like the National Weather Service is going to ride this out until 8 p.m., but they do not plan to continue it at this time. And the reason for that is because the rotation has become much more broad. Again, there's no well-defined couplet here. This is pretty much right along that Montgomery City to Wellsville area. And there's strong winds associated with it, without a doubt. But at this point, there's not as much concern that it would be producing a tornado. But they are going to ride this out until 8 p.m., so we're going to stay with it until 8 p.m. And then at that point, if there are no more issues, we'll send you back to regular programming. Let me go ahead and show you First Alert Radar just from the bigger perspective, because I know there are going to be a lot of folks asking about our western counties. And I want to give folks the all clear that we can give the all clear to. Osage Beach, Morgan County, Cooper, Howard County, Montauk County, Pettis, Saline, Sheraton, Randolph, Macon, even Boone County. You are in the clear right now as these thunderstorms continue to race off to the east, and that we are watching so closely, that have been capable of producing 60 to 70 miles per hour. Let me turn off the lightning here because we are watching also storms near the Rolla area, and with that, we are seeing a tornado warned storm. We have a MoDOT camera there as well. This is Rolla at Highway 63. Again, cars seeming to move in the direction. We actually do have a decent view of the sky here. I really wish some lightning would strike. There we go. So we can actually see what's happening here. I don't see any defining characteristics here, but we can certainly see some wind coming in with this. Again, this is a MoDOT camera, Rolla at Highway 63, where there is a tornado warning in progress. Again, if you have friends, family in Rolla, please make sure they're paying attention and that they're sheltering at this time. Let's continue to monitor this camera back in the booth. If we get anything, go ahead and punch it up, and we'll get to it. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but if there's something significant there, we'll get to it. Getting a report of some small hail in Wellsville. That's pretty typical of what we'd expect with this storm. What I was doing as I was talking was giving the all clear. Macon, Moberly, Columbia, Boonville, Fayette, stretching down towards Tipton, towards Osage Beach, towards Camdenton. This is all past you at this point. So like we've been forecasting, this is a very fast-moving system across the region. Something that's also been happening as these storms have been moving to the east is we've been seeing the watches canceled. So here's the current tornado watches as we stand right now. Macon, Randolph, Howard, Cooper, Pettis, Saline, and Sheraton County have been let go from the watch. Montauk, Morgan, Camden, they can join the party here. And what we'll continue to see happen is this is going to be canceled off section by section as those storms continue to move to the east. What we are going to continue to see tonight, though, is the potential for some pretty strong winds. The instantaneous winds right now at this moment in our reporting stations, not coming in particularly high, but we have certainly seen it tonight. And some of the wind gusts have been between 40, 50, 60 miles per hour. That fueled wildfire concerns earlier. That's fueled power outages through the day, and that is something that we've continued to watch. And something else that we've continued to watch through the afternoon and evening is the dew point. And what's happened is these numbers have risen dramatically. I'm actually going to make some graphic edits here on the spot so that you can see this, because it's truly been an incredible range here. Let's go for the last 4 hours. This is at 3:51 p.m. You can see the timing here. The dew point was 39 in Columbia. That's very dry air. And what's happened as we've gone through the last several hours, this moisture has just surged to the north. This surging moisture, particularly what we see down here near West Plains, is what's going to fuel that continuing tornado threat south of I-44 and east of us as it heads towards St. Louis, Cape Girardeau as well. So that is really the fuel and the ample point of what we've been seeing and what we've been watching here. So it just goes to show you the incredible changes that we've seen with some of these thunderstorms as they've moved through central Missouri. I want to get to our wind gust cast because this is something that's going to continue through the night. The winds are going to remain strong. This is 10 p.m. tonight. Winds continuing out of the south, gusting up to 40 to 50 miles per hour, continuing to usher in that moisture, which increases that severe and tornado threat for areas east of us. Montgomery City, Herman, pointing to the east, that's where that tornado threat is maximized tonight over the next few hours. If you have friends or family in St. Louis, make sure they're staying tuned to their trusted local meteorologists that are going to be covering this storm for them. Continuing overnight into Saturday morning, we continue to see these winds out of the south still very strong. This is still enough to cause some power outages, gusts up to 40, even 50 miles per hour possible with this. And then as we go through Saturday afternoon, we should see those winds let up a little bit, but they are going to pick back up a little bit more into Sunday out of the northwest, pulling in some cooler air that is going to be with us for the weekend. Temperatures near 60 tomorrow and in the lower 50s on Sunday. Of course, this all changes and we all warm back up as we head into early next week. As we continue to track these storms through central Missouri, let's start with our northern counties because that's where we continue to see these. I'm going to again turn off the lightning. These are very, very electric storms that are moving through. Let's go ahead and go to a MoDOT camera that's in Montgomery County facing to the north. I want to see if we can see anything there. Let's sit on this for a moment because it does look like we're getting some flashes of lightning, maybe some low-hanging clouds out there associated with this. That's pretty typical. Yeah, so you can kind of see some low-hanging clouds. Those are not funnels. Those are what we call scud clouds. They're basically just ripped apart clouds at the base of the severe thunderstorm, but they can look pretty scary and pretty menacing here. As we continue our live look here, I know this is in Montgomery County, but I'm not sure if I have exact specifics on where exactly it is in Montgomery County. I know it is facing the north. It is in New Florence. Thank you to our friends in the booth telling us this. It looks like we're changing directions here, so I would assume now we're turning this to the south. But what you were seeing in that MoDOT camera is what we call scud. It's low-hanging stuff. It looks a little frightening, but it is actually not that concerning. And what we continue to see on radar is things that are not that concerning as well. So that is good news as this continues to move off to the northeast. Let me freeze it here. That hook shape that we were so concerned about when we cut in just a little bit ago has faded away for now, and it has weakened quite a bit. As we look at the velocity image, there is still some broad rotation here. So let's continue in Montgomery County from Middletown through Buell through Montgomery City to pay attention here. But this tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire at 8 p.m. That is 5 minutes from now, and just what we're looking to see within the last few minutes. We are continuing to watch some severe thunderstorms in the southern part of our viewing area as well. Let's go to meteorologist Noah Simmons and Patrick Harrion for more on that. Let's start with Noah on these southern storms.
Yeah, so the southern storms are really starting to get their act together, especially that tornado warning close to Raleigh. Now, ideally, that's just outside our viewing area, but it just kind of shows you what the environment is doing right now. As Matt just mentioned earlier, you have those higher moisture, you have the higher dew points out there right now, and you still have those strong wind gusts as well. So you still got to be on the lookout, especially eastern parts of Marys County, far eastern parts of Osage County, and then even Gasconade County as it's just starting to get to you. So still heads up there. Don't let our guard down, especially in those far eastern counties.
And you are looking at the MoDOT camera from the Rolla area. We can certainly see things have changed since we looked here a few minutes ago. Heavier downpours, some strong winds, kind of rippling the rain there. Not ideal conditions to be out on the roadway. But still, again, that is south of our viewing area. We continue to see these storms moving off to the southeast, and you can see it there. It got darker because of power outages there. Power outages have been prevalent across the region today. Patrick Harrion over at our Right Now desk right now, continuing to follow the latest on our weather situation too. Patrick, what do you have for us?
Yeah, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Callaway County, northeastern Osage County, and Montgomery County. That's till 9 o'clock, just 70-mile-an-hour winds. We've seen these strong winds all throughout the day, these gusts that we've seen now reaching 70 mile an hour for that storm there. We still are watching that the tornado warning is going to expire within the next few minutes here. Good news there on that front as that system starts to move out. But still seeing lots more severe thunderstorm warnings towards the south. We talked about that Rolla storm that's just outside of our viewing area. But good news is that that tornado warning that we saw earlier for areas Montgomery City and Wellsville is going to expire for the next few minutes there. So all good news on that front. But we did just get that new severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Callaway, northeastern Osage County, and Montgomery County. Matt?